have finally made it to the last week in the course, which technically, if we were on campus, would be dead week. So I know everything's turned virtual, so you guys are having dead week and finals week at home. But normally, this would be kind of the last time that we would meet in person and we would go over everything for the end of the class. So it is a little bit different doing it virtually this year, but I really have enjoyed teaching this course. Um, I know that things have kind of been a little more condensed than usual, and in class we would have more of a discussion, kind of one-on-one or, with the group, as opposed to doing it virtually online. So I really hope that everybody's had a good experience with the class and gotten some good things out of it. Since this is the last week, I had found this presentation when I was first designing the class and turning it virtual around week one. So I'm not going to make anybody kind of go through it. It's quite a long bit of slides. So if you just want to watch this video, that will be basically all that you'll have to do. I will send out an email to everybody or make a course announcement too about what is to be done. But really, since this is the last week of the class, I didn't want anything going on for finals week. Uni is traditionally a class that should be kind of low stress. So I don't have anything for you guys to do on finals week. Everything that you have to do for this class will be done by this Sunday. But if anybody needs like an extension on anything, just feel free to email me. I do encourage you to go back through the grade center and see if there's anything that you're missing points for. I'm going to try to contact everybody to see if there is something that you're missing points for so you can do that and get your points for it. Um, but yeah, if you need an extension on anything, we really do have, from now until the end of next week. So if you had to catch up on something, that'd be the good time to do it. So really, the only thing left for me to talk about is this final week worth of content. And then I do encourage you guys to go do your course evaluations. Everybody knows the university will probably email you daily about doing your course evals. Those things are very valuable because that's how professors, kind of critique their course to do improvements on it for next semester or next year. And two, I know a lot of departments, they kind of look at those course evals for who should be teaching like what. So I know there's many different like uni courses and stuff. We take turns like in our office teaching stuff at different times. So I really do encourage you to go through and do the course evaluation for this class. And also, I encourage you to go on Rate My Professors and give me a review. I encourage all my students throughout the year to rate their professors on that site, regardless of the subject, because really, course evaluations are pretty valuable, but students don't get to see them. Um, Professors are the only ones that get to really see them, and they see them anonymously too. So yeah, I really encourage you to go and rate my professors and rate me along with your other professors that you've had this semester. Um, it has been definitely a different kind of year, so I would really encourage you guys to rate professors, especially based on how your classes were taught, like virtually. Um, I would really like I said before, I'd like to teach this virtually, maybe from here on out, because I feel like it was very convenient for students to be able to take. Um, some students are taking it for like the extra credit. Some students are taking it for the ability to find out, what you want to major in and what you want to do. So no matter what, I think it's definitely been valuable. So I encourage you to do your course eval and give me a rate. I'll rate my professor. And definitely I want to say good luck on finals. It has not been an easy semester. I think everybody knows that. And I'm not going to say any of the classic kind of catchphrases. I'm kind of tired of the 2020 catchphrases like, we're all in this together and it looks a little bit different and mask up, everything like that. But it really has been difficult. I know particularly like this has been a rough semester on my students. I see about probably 80 students or so, I think, and It's been rough, like whether it's been academically or, personally with family stress or just stress in general or, mental health issues. It's been a rough year for, anxiety and depression and stress. So I really commend you guys for sticking with your classes and going through your semester, and especially taking this one, adding an extra class onto a second week sometimes isn't that easy. You have to kind of bounce around things with your schedule, but I really do thank you guys for sticking with it. So yeah, definitely good luck on finals. Um, I know that it might not even be easy transitioning to doing virtual stuff at home now. Um, but yeah, definitely give it your all because any effort that you're going to be giving is way more than, what you could have done. Um, you could have easily just given up and quit if you wanted to and said that it's too hard, but you guys are definitely going through a really hard time and, along with everybody else in the world. Um, it's not easy to put classes on top of a pandemic. It's never been done before since we've been living, so it is something to definitely talk about throughout the ages. So I'm going to touch on some stuff real quick before I just keep kind of rambling on, because you guys know that I could really talk all day to anybody about anything. But so this presentation is talking about why people get stuck in making career decisions, and I wanted to kind of look forward into what you guys are going to be doing as students who are going to be graduating and getting into a career. So we've covered everything about how to find your major, how to find like a personality index, do certain career fields attract people with certain personalities or certain Holland types. And so we've talked about everything like from ins and outs. What do people do in their career? How much do they make? What kind of time do you need to put into it? And what kind of education levels do you need? But we've not talked about something like future forward. What happens when you get stuck into a career that you don't want to be in, or maybe you feel like you made a wrong decision in a career choice. So I wanted to talk to you guys about that before anybody gets into their career, because it's something that just like with graduating, you don't get like a step-by-step guide once you graduate on how to be an adult, unless parents are there to help you, or maybe like an older sibling or something, or friends. You don't have kind of a guide on how to save money and how to budget and how to ask for like a raise, and what do I do if I need to make like a lateral career jump. So I wanted to talk about this, and also touch on some parts about how careers aren't very much like traditional anymore. They kind of are treading the line between like things you could do non-traditional and probably things that your parents would have like got onto you if you said like, oh, I want to do a career in makeup and have a YouTube channel. They probably would have said that's an awful idea. But nowadays they don't really know because it's definitely a different kind of career atmosphere out there, and opportunity is happening in places that we never thought about before. So I'm going to kind of go through this a little bit quick, because there's 91 slides, and the career psychologist, this website's very valuable, but they made kind of a lengthy presentation. So we're going to kind of hit on some of the high points. Um, so talking about looking for like a new job, it's talking about you worry about stepping into the unknown, and it could be a big risk about getting into a new career path, but some of these points are really cool. So over 70% of us do not feel engaged at work, and over half of us would start over if we could. That's a huge statistic, and that's something definitely to think about when you're going into your career field. If you don't feel passionate about that topic or that area that you're going to be working in, it's okay to question other, areas. It's okay to hop into like a minor or a different major, or try out a class or two before switching. It's really a good point to start if you have to, maybe kind of bite 6 hours worth of credits that wouldn't count for something over having a 30-year career where at the end of it you think, yeah, I really didn't like what I did, and I wish I would have started over. So he's talking about something called career paralysis, and it's something about, how possibly we could get into a field that we don't want, um, but also we could kind of get bored with like a field if we don't have kind of the variety to spice it up a little bit and keep us engaged in it. So he's going back to like, basic biology. Like we were meant to be like hunter gatherers and kind of protect a village. Not so much, worry about how many emails we have to go through or make an Excel spreadsheet. Nobody in this era or caveman era even thought about the things that we do now for work that we get paid for. So he's talking about different work environments. But this is kind of funny because I'm not sure when this was made, but nowadays, I mean, we are looking right now at 2020 of the possibility of some people are now working at home permanently, and some people are transitioning from jobs that would be in person, and they're finding that you could do it at home. So the career field itself has changed in different ways. So I really like this part because I use this example all the time. Um, I do things as a counselor with careers and with mental health, but also do relationship workshops. And it's funny because, in general, you can apply this principle to just about anything. If you go on a dating app and there are 100 people that you're swiping through, you're probably not going to pay attention to them as much because it just seems monotonous and it seems kind of mundane. But if you also, I like to use this example, if you also go to a place like Baskin Robbins, they're known for like 31 flavors. So you go there and there's 31 different ice cream choices, like in a case. And you're not, unless you actually know what you're going to eat whenever you go in there beforehand, you're not going to know which one you're going to choose. Like, let's say you go in there not wanting to be swayed by like a certain flavor. So you kind of go around and you say like, okay, well, I'm kind of in the mood for chocolate, so I'm gonna count out all the ones that are non-chocolate. So there go sherbets, there go vanillas, stuff like that. So then you say like, well, what do I want in it? Do I want like plain? So you say, no, I don't want plain chocolate. So you go through and there's many different choices. There's ones with candy, ones with nuts and caramel and stuff in it. The fact is, if a shop would have had just like chocolate or vanilla, um, it would not have been as overwhelming as going in there versus like the 31 flavors. Um, I'll tell you another example, and it's funny because I use these food examples all the time because I think they apply to like real life situations. But you roll up to Taco Bell drive-through, let's say like old Taco Bell before they kind of condense their menu. I would stay there for probably like 2 minutes. I'd pull up and I'd be like, hey, hold on a second. I need a minute. And there's just so many choices. Like, how many different ways can you put a tortilla and cheese and some sort of protein, in an item and have 30 different outcomes? Um, so I would be there forever because I would want to know, like, what am I going to get the most kind of money value out of? And what am I, in the mood for right then and there? Fast forward to another place, like if I go to Chipotle, Chipotle says, do you want it in a burrito, tortilla, or a bowl? Do you want one of four meat choices or these simple kind of veggie choices? So honestly, when I go to Chipotle, I'm in and out like within a minute because they are already working on it as I'm calling it out. There's only, two types of beans and two types of rice, as opposed to like something like Taco Bell where it's just endless amount of combinations. So the choice factor, it really can overwhelm us. So choices stress us out, and this is what I was talking about, the paradox of choice. You scroll through a website and you see all these different colors, and you're like, oh my gosh, maybe I can narrow it down from 15 to 10 to 5 to 3 to 2, but it might actually stress us out because we feel like we're not going to make the right choice. Um, So then we start to think like, well, why did I choose that? Why did I, miss out on, picking that color or that option over another? Um, so the really good thing about it is going through your career, like I say, I use the technique of starting in all the colleges and narrowing down which colleges you would not want to major in. So, if you're not interested in the arts, we're going to knock out like arts and media. If you completely hate science, we're easily going to knock out College of Science, but probably College of Health Professions too. So it's funny because like college can overwhelm you. Marshall has so many choices for majors that if you're undecided, it can feel like you don't know what path you're going into, and possibly are you going to make the wrong decision. So here's the second part, talking about a negative bias. Um, so it's talking about how people can see things differently between person to person. Um, Optimism and pessimism, I mean, it can really affect, how you want to stick into a career or how committed you're going to be into a decision. And it also goes into choice. It's very hard, I feel like, as a freshman, figuring out, within a couple of months or even a semester or two what you want to do for 30 to 35 years. So prioritizing short-term ease over long-term values. Um, Sometimes it is easy to kind of pick something that's going to last a little while instead of a long while. Um, they use this example: 90% of people support organ donation. Um, Yet some countries have higher organ donation rates than others. And it's talking about how somebody might be for it, but they might not like opt into it. They might actually opt out. Um, so for something like organ donation, they might think like I am for it, um, inside the kind of short-term gain of it. Um, but it ends up acting against our long-term values. So they're talking about how people can get influenced by what other people say. And it's very common, in college because you might have friends that are in certain majors and you might hear like, hey, they really like being a nursing major and it might fit really well for them, but it might not fit really well for you. But all you hear about is just this major that you think you're really going to want to major in, but it might not work out for you. So we tend to, try to move away from bad stuff and tend to move towards good stuff. Um, and sometimes roadblocks happen, like when we're trying to get into like a career path. Um, but it is funny. We can actually talk ourselves out of things that might be good for us. And I say this a lot with my students when I'm talking to them in sessions, but we are usually our hardest critic. Um, we are the ones immediately, somehow our brains go towards the negative. We go and take a final exam and we might think, oh my gosh, I did horrible on that. I bombed it. I didn't study enough. How could I have done this? But if our best friend came up to us and said, hey, I think I failed this exam and I'm really stupid, immediately we'd be like, "Oh my gosh, why are you saying that? You're not stupid." Um, so it's easy for us to critique ourselves versus like somebody else. And this is really interesting because I cannot stress this enough. As humans, we do tend to move away from discomfort. And when that comes into your career path, that will mean encountering scary things. That will mean moving to a different state to pursue a job, um, asking your boss for a raise or a promotion. Um, I mean, really, the things that do make us uncomfortable are the ones that will probably get us further in our career, but it is scary because we want to immediately run from things that are uncomfortable. Um, how many people, have been scared of a job interview? I don't know of a single person that enjoys job interviews or goes into an interview that is completely like cool-headed, excited, ready to go for it. Most people have that kind of stress that makes them a little bit nervous for a job interview. And immediately, if we find out that they ask us a question that we don't know, our automatic response is to freeze up. That's our defense mechanism. Um, Usually it's fight, flight, or freeze, and I feel like in an interview, it's probably gonna be the freeze more often. I don't think anybody's gonna get asked a hard question and immediately, ditch all their interview stuff and then run out of the room. It's possible, but yeah, it's probably not gonna happen. But yeah, we tend to, try to move away from discomfort, but it could actually hinder us from moving forward. So it's really funny too because number four, our brains think on linear patterns. We're always trying to go from point A to point B. And that tends to happen, especially with career choices. We're trying to go from something, in one field and something that is very, very relatable to that same field as our next step. So we might be like, I don't know, if I'm thinking about like customer service, like sales, we might start as like cashier and then we want to go to like a shift supervisor and then immediately go to like a manager, all while we're within like that same store. That's a very linear path. But it's interesting because what we can do is we can actually move in a different path. If we really enjoy something within sales, but maybe we want to branch out and kind of do like marketing, we might talk to a supervisor and say, like, hey, I really want to have this promotion, but I would really want to fix in kind of these skills that I'm really good at. Um, and you might end up being, kind of like an ambassador to for maybe social media or something within that company. Um, I have heard from students that they've incorporated into their jobs, the ability to put things on social media now, and it kind of helps with, them branching out into different kind of field, but staying within their same job and getting experience that they can put on their resume later. So the last one here is we treat thoughts as facts, and that's a pretty good kind of cognitive behavioral therapy point. Um, we kind of see all these different things um, as either something's a threat or something's, enjoyable. So our minds have evolved to keep us safe, to not find fulfillment or meaning. And it's another thing too that we are kind of our hardest critic too. Um, it is funny because I've had this happen before. You come home from a long, hard day of work, and our mind says like you're too far tired to go for a run, um, or you can't work out. Like it's going to take up too much time, and it's going to be too much of a hassle. So what do? You talk yourself out of it, and even though you wanted to do it, it only took about 5 or 10 seconds to talk yourself out of something that you could be enjoying for an hour or more. So what happens is we tend to behave as though our thoughts are true when it's actually not. We're just kind of filling in the gaps there. Um, I like though how they've been able to apply this to careers. You can talk yourself out of something in a career, like, oh, you're too young to be promoted to a manager, or you're too old to go get a different degree in a field. It's too old. You can't start and finish it in time before you'd actually get some stuff into your career. Um, so the cool thing about it is I like how he says, I can't change career now because first I need to feel more secure, confident, motivated. But really, um, people would, do better off by saying that those are just negative thoughts and feelings, and it's not something that's concrete and true. I might feel like I'm too old to go back and change my career, but that doesn't mean that it's not happened before. Um, One great example I like to use is somebody from Marshall's med school. I forget what year it was, but somebody finished med school, and I think they were 60 or 65. So it's not old, and you're not old enough to like completely lose the idea of going into a different career field. So really, those are the five things that I kind of wanted to cover the high points of this presentation for. I found that they were pretty valuable because really, these are things that you can get kind of stuck in whenever you're in a career field. So I wanted you guys to know that these things exist way before you get into your career field and graduate because there are going to be things that you encounter that you might not have expected, and it's tough when that happens because we either are going to be too hard on ourselves or we're going to rely on others to try and, help fix it. Um, so it is easy to feel like you can be like stuck or feel like you don't have the correct amount of value going into like a career field. So those are kind of the little things that can get you stuck in a career. So really, with that being said, I will post up the recording of this lecture. So all you'll have to do is watch the recording of the lecture and then head down to the week 8 discussion, which is going to count for your all's final. Um, and all I would like for you guys to do is highlight some of the things that were favorite things about your class and name something that you found out by taking this course that you didn't know about before. Um, I'm really interested to see what you guys will put down because I'm going to put that into future courses whenever I design it and teach 103 again. Um, and I really like having that kind of feedback from you guys because oftentimes it's hard to see kind of like what is on the other side of the screen. And I want to make sure that everybody kind of got some good things out of the class. So that is the last thing for this class is to do the week 8 discussion. And then that would be after you watch this presentation. But I will send you guys an email or an announcement to kind of lay out the things um, so that you know which order to do things in. But this will be due by this Sunday at 11:59. Like I said, go back into the Grade Center and see if there's anything that you missed or might have forgotten about. As long as you can get it to me by, midweek of finals, um, then I'll put it on there for the full points. Um, I know that it's definitely been, like I said, a challenging semester, and I want to make sure that the class has been as flexible for you guys as it has been for me. I've really enjoyed doing this format. Like I said, um, it's really been easy to kind of hop in and work on it in between, work and stuff, and even when I'm at home. So I think it's been really cool. But yeah, I'm waiting to hear back from y'all's feedback. So discussion, video lecture, watching it, course evaluations, rate me on Rate My Professors, and knock out those finals because that would be a great way to end such a rough semester. I'm hoping next semester is a little bit easier for everybody. We will just have to wait and see, which is one of those things that I hate doing. But, 2020 has been challenging us all in different ways. So, good luck on finals. I hope you guys really got a lot out of this class. And if you ever need to get in touch with me, especially after this class about career stuff, feel free. It doesn't end just with this class. You guys know where to find me when we are able to see people in person. But if not, just send me an email and I will meet with you on Teams or however we have to do it. I have plexiglass and masks in my office, so we can do that too. But yeah, get a hold of me if you ever need anything, and I will see you around on campus hopefully soon.